Joining us tonight, the Director of Policy Studies at the Center for Immigration Studies, Jessica Vaughn. And Jessica has heard a lot of bunk and bull in her time at the center. I think that Cory Gardner and Ted Cruz have reached new depths of rhetorical obfuscation. Your thoughts?
Oh, it's sad. But really, what it boils down to is they're afraid. They're afraid that the president is trying something new and different and getting results. They're afraid of what their handlers are telling them will happen if they come out in a strong way for border security and strong measures to solve this crisis. They're afraid of what their donors are going to think if they speak a word against using tariffs to get Mexico
By the way,
to
on that point,
deal with this.
I have heard that donors are not too pleased with those rhino senators and the others who are opposing the president. This is an ugly moment in the history of the Republican Party. It is stunning what Mitch McConnell and I mean it's the ghost of Paul Ryan. This McConnell is taking lessons from Ryan and what he did to the Republican Party in the House. He wants to do the same thing to the Republicans. That is, destroy the majority in the Senate.
What they should be taking lessons from is the message that voters sent when they elected Donald Trump as president, that they want immigration security, and they want better trade deals, and they don't want to constantly be doing things that are just in the interests of big donors, big business, the globalist interests, and but they're going to be put out of office if they don't get that message.
Well, they're going to be put out of office. That's the political effect. The effect on the nation will be the president is exactly right to bring to bear those tariffs against Mexico. That is, Mexico is not watching these illegal immigrants come 2,000 miles from their southern border to the U.S.-Mexico border. They are assisting them. That is one of the shibboleths, the convenient devices of the left and also the corporate lobby. This is Mexico helping the cartels. Mexico, I don't know if we have this map, but looking at the recent map by the government of Mexico, shows no government control north of along the northern border. It's either cartel influenced or cartel controlled. Who is kidding here? We have a Chamber of Commerce, a business lobby, a business roundtable, and Wall Street aligned with the drug cartels who are exporting death and devastation to this country. And there is the map. I mean, think about that. The green areas, ladies and gentlemen, are where the Mexican government is in control. That tells you how severe the problem is and how close Mexico is to becoming a full-fledged narco state. And yet we pretend this is some sort of ideological battle between the Republican and Democratic establishments and President Trump and our middle class and working men and women and small business people.
And the longer we let this crisis go on, the richer the cartels become, the more influence they have, the more ability they have to bring their influence here to the United States, and it benefits no one. It's really in Mexico's best interest to work with us on securing the border.
Lopez Obrador, we thought, was going to be a potential partner for this president. Lopez Obrador so far has shown himself to be no better than the corrupt presidents who preceded him in Mexico, and that is a shame and a lost opportunity for the Mexican people who are living in the midst of corruption and deadly, deadly violence. Jessica Vaughn, as always, great to have you with us.
Thank you. Good to see you.